Welcome everyone to the FTW podcast, the wrestling world in all its laughable glory. This absolutely packed show is episode number 156 and was recorded live on March 19th, 2013 on FTWLive.com. Tonight we're going to discuss entirely too much stuff and we don't have nearly much time to do it, so let's just roll right through it. I'm Harrison. With me as always is Joe. Say hi, Joe.
Hello, my peoples.
Kevin. Say hello, Kevin.
What's up?
And if you think that's awesome, wait till you hear this. Mike. Say hello, Mike.
I cannot be on the show if you do not pronounce my name correctly.
Mike. Say hello, Mike.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
And the return of Lee. Say hello, Lee.
I didn't really rise when he said that.
And Garvin is manning the boards. Please make sure to check out the rest of FTWpodcast.com, more about us and how to get involved in upcoming discussions, as well as the other ways to hear us. You can also find us on Twitter, G+, and Facebook. All those links and so much more are listed right there at FTWpodcast.com. I want to give a special shout out to all of you listening through the Universal Takeover Network. Thanks for giving us a shot and making our show one of the most listened to on the network already. For all you live chat hooligans listening tonight here on FTWLive.com, holla! This episode has been brought to you by The Official. I'm an FTW podcast guy, T. Get it now, as well as all of our other merch at FTWpodcast.com/shirts. All of our shirts start at $15 and they are wicked awesome. And if you want to sponsor an upcoming episode to help us pay for all of Joe's booze, hit up FTWpodcast.com/sponsor and sponsor a future episode today. His liver will thank you. And that's enough about us. Let's just dive right into TNA. So, TNA, first thing we got to talk about on the docket, first live show in a while. Was it any good? Well, Rob's on the show, so I can't kick it to him directly. Let's take it let's go to Garvin first. Garv, what'd you think? I mean, how'd you feel about their first live show?
Relatively speaking, I thought it was good. I thought it was a nice change in the atmosphere. Overall, it seemed like they connected a lot better to the audience because, hey, the audience actually paid to be there, which was nice. It was a packed house from what we've read. They were still opening up seats, trying to make more room for all the last minute ticket sales. So yeah, I thought overall it was a good show. If you read Nick's blog post on our site, he says the same thing. It was a fantastic show. So yeah, overall I was pleased.
Okay. Was anybody pleased? Yeah. Was anybody expecting the worst? I mean, was anybody going into that expecting it to be like a dead situation? I mean, I can't imagine, there's been such a, especially after Bound for Glory, in Phoenix, there's been such a pent up, need for TNA to tour and go live. So, I mean, how could you possibly expect anything but the best?
I think when TNA is off of a live show, for a while and they come back to it, they can really knock it out of the park. It's can they keep it consistent? They had a lot of energy Thursday night, which was awesome. I was very excited to see that. I think when they initially went live, when they were going to battle on Monday nights, yeah, their first few shows were fantastic. But after that, it tapered down, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens now that they're traveling and how those live crowds are going to react.
All right. I do want to ask Mike about his opinion on this. Mike, you have gone on record saying that you're not exactly the biggest TNA fan in the world. So what did you think about them going live? How'd you feel about their first, live road show in a while?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that TNA does well is they can build up to that one show that they do. It seems like this has been something that's, about a month in the making or so. They did those shows over in London, but I think they did one Impact show. But it seems like they were building up to this live show in Chicago, and I caught the last hour of it. And I mean, I'm fine with the wrestling. The wrestling's fine on TNA. But one of the things I noticed is that it seems they're acing the hole anytime they want to, shake things up or whatever. It's always a heel turn. And last Thursday, who's it? AJ Styles came in and, he attacked James Storm after helping him fight off, Kazarian and Danielson. And I started thinking about it. Just in 2013 alone, we've had Taz, Garrett Bischoff, Wes Briscoe, Bully Ray, AJ Styles, and D'Lo Brown turn heel. I mean, that could be a year and a half for the promotion of guys turning heel. and they've blown their wad 7 times in 10 weeks. So I mean, that's just one thing I took away from it. It just seems like that's all they know how to do.
Mike, my only argument against that is that, generally speaking, all those names that you named are a part of the same storyline, and so I'm almost okay with it just because of that, because they're all involved in the same storyline. It's more of a group going up against TNA versus, one individual doing a heel turn and then someone separately unrelated having a heel turn. It's not like that. It's more organized than that. Also, AJ Styles didn't necessarily turn heel. He just kind of went to the tweener role. I mean, he attacked both sides. So it's more of like a loner rather than a full on heel turn.
And the other thing about like Taz, Bischoff, Briscoe, Bully Ray, those you could argue that those could be the heel turns that were banked from last year, because for a vast majority of the time in Aces and Eights, we went on saying that they really weren't developing anything with the storyline. I mean, you had like guys on occasion pop out, once every few months, and so now that we're starting this whole new era of TNA, with the four pay-per-views, now they're touring and everything. For me, like Garvin, it kind of makes sense. Do you know what? Let's just pop these all right now, and then this is the energy we have going forward. Now, Mike, do you think that okay, well, I'll let you respond to that. And a question I want to add is, now, does that worry you? Do you think that now this energy that they've had is unsustainable? Is that where you're coming from? So go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say that, I just named those heel turns in 2013. If you go back to every big moment that TNA has had in the last few years, it's always a heel turn, whether it be Jeff Hardy, Hulk Hogan, any other big name that they just build up to and it turned out to be a heel turn. It's they're a one trick pony with that. I don't think, and with that, I think they don't really know how to build a baby face up to take down that heel. I mean, last Thursday on Impact, Jeff Hardy should have been out there and cutting a promo and just being like all mad about what happened at Lockdown. Instead, he was quiet and he was just another guy who ran into the ring at the end of the show.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Anybody got any? Well, go on. Garvin,
I just wanted to point out the live chat is reminding me that AJ's turn technically happened last year, because that's when he took his time off, basically saying that he wasn't going to do what TNA wants him to do. He wants to do what is right for him, kind of thing. But still, I'm almost leaning to completely agreeing with you, Mike, because you also look at Matt Morgan. Matt Morgan turned last year as well. So yeah, I mean, it does seem like that is the move that we remember, and I can't remember like any major face turns. Maybe Austin Aries for that brief stint. Mm-hmm. But that's about it.
And I mean, Bully Ray had that few months where, he was fighting Aces and Eights, yeah. But it wasn't this big, monumental face turn where, he just rained hell on them. It was 2 or 3 months, and turns out he was the president of Aces and Eights the whole time. It was more of a red herring than anything else.
Okay. Speaking of Aces and Eights, TNA finally updated their website, which was nice, because that was the one complaint that we've had probably more than anything else they've ever done. And they managed to have Aces and Eights essentially take over the website, replaced it with a ton of content, all Aces and Eights all the time. I gotta be honest, I loved it. That was a brilliant move. It's one of those things that they really embraced it, and I thought they did a great job with it. Garv, what did you think?
I agree, until you realize that they took everything off the site. You couldn't access any of the roster pages. You couldn't access the shop at all. And they took over social media, so it was like there was nothing that a new fan or a current fan could get onto the site for.
See, that's the thing, Garth. I disagree with you. It's that whole hog commitment about it. The fact, and that's the ballsiest thing about it. They took down the shoptna.com. That to me is just, that was just awesome, because that is just, you know what? We're putting all our chimps in. We're going whole hog with it, and I got to admire that move, and I think it worked. If a new fan came to that, I can't imagine they'd be like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah, anybody coming to Garvin's defense on that?
No.
All right, Garv, you were saying?
Well, just for a new fan though, is that what you want your first impression to be? is, a site that's non-accessible. That's a step backwards from us complaining because the site's never updated. Finally, it's updated, but then they took everything off.
From functionality, okay, from a web design standpoint, yes, I understand where you're coming from. But as far as marketing goes, I think it's brilliant. I think a new fan would be coming there, they'd be confused, they'd probably be intrigued. And then really, would a new fan really go to shoptna.com and drop $40 on a t-shirt for promotion they don't watch?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You always no. And the answer is no. They wouldn't do that. Thank you, Mike. No, they wouldn't do that. The people who go there that would be new would be wondering what the hell's going on, and so that would just intrigue them even more. If a fan's really looking forward to this, if a fan wants to buy $40 for a T-shirt, they can wait, or they'll do what everybody else does and just buy them cheap off eBay or something. I don't think it really hurt them that much. I think TNA only had just great things to gain from it. Other than that, the Aces and Eights storyline, especially since Bully Ray made the turn last Sunday, we've gone into it. I mean, the future is looking pretty bright for this storyline. Does anybody really see anything that's kind of giving them pause, other than maybe Mike's point of they've kind of shot their wad on it entirely? We don't really have any more.
Yeah, it's the thing where Dixie goes to fire D'Lo on Twitter, and he's just like, "I'm just going to go back to my previous career." I hope that doesn't mean wrestling. I don't know. It's been so long since we've seen D'Lo.
Maybe he's going back. Maybe he's going back to managing Farouk.
Yes.
We are the nation, the domination.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely what they were implying.
Okay, Aces and Eights meets the. So you're gonna end up like with Aces and Eights mixing with like the Nation of Domination.
Nation of Eights.
Nation of Eights.
Is that just okay? I'm not even.
Anyway, go on. You were saying.
I'm just saying that's exactly what they're implying, was that he was going to go back and become a wrestler, and yeah, that's the last thing that we really want to see. Especially because like our biggest complaints was that, outside of Bully Ray, I mean, who else is in that group that is decent in the ring? I mean, Devon, sure. But yeah. When was the last time you really saw Devon in a match?
So last time you saw Devon have a film match.
Well, when he defended the TV title, which wasn't recently on TV, I can tell you that.
Right.
Yeah. The thing is, I found it weird that they went after D'Lo on that. I mean, of all the people that D'Lo, that's the one you're gonna go to. Yeah, I mean, he's he's like the least threatening guy there. I mean, you got Bully Ray and Devon as a team holding two belts in your. I mean, I would just imagine that to storyline purposes, they would have management going entirely after that, or Taz. I mean, Taz was on the mic this entire time, and Dixie never came out and yelled at Taz.
Yeah, and the live chat is reminding us that last year, I can't remember which pay-per-view it was, but we were all hoping that we would see, and we were joking, of course, but still, there was like that need of seeing D'Lo Brown versus Al Snow. Do you guys remember us having those conversations like a year ago?
Yeah, totally. And that would have been fun because it's two old guys for just a quick nostalgia's sake.
Yeah, but there's a possibility that that's something that they might lead to.
Oh God, seriously?
I'm seriously glad I missed that show.
That's like saying we want to see Ultimate Warrior and Honky Tonk go at it again. I don't think so.
No, I mean, yeah, I kind of do, but only for the train wreck aspect of it. I wouldn't want to pay money to see it, but if it was on YouTube and you sent it to me and said, dude, Warrior and Honky Tonk were at it, in a house show in Topeka, Kansas, to be like, hell yeah, I'll take 2 minutes out of my day to watch that, but I'm not going to drive out to see it.
Just rewatch Goldberg versus Lesnar again. Just go all the way.
Hey, that is one of my guilty pleasure matches, which if we do one of these WrestleMania retro shows, I can go into more.
Why it's your guilty pleasure match? All right, that's fine.
Guilty pleasure match. There's something wrong with you. There is something wrong with you. Sorry, carry on.
That sounds like a really twisted stipulation. That could have been the Triple H Brock Lesnar stipulation.
A guilty pleasure match?
No.
Guilty pleasure on a pole.
Stephanie. Double dogger named Pepper on a pole match.
I love it if it was like, just like two really just like lame things. Like Lesnar's really into like romance novels and Triple H crochets. Like it's just two like, really, that's it. So like it's just like, a bunch of magazines and a sewing kit on a pole. And it's just like, well, it's what I do. Sometimes you gotta unwind at the end of the day, you just gotta,
Or they challenge each other to a debate. The old days of Triple H and Scott Steiner.
Oh, God, those were terrible. Oh.
Has anybody
That was
been able
like
to go
that.
through our old shows and find Rob's imitation of Scott Steiner? Because that was epic.
Let me tell you something. Rob is better. I'm sorry.
It was 2003. God, that was awful.
Anyway, TNA. All right, so Mike, how do you feel about the Aces and Eights storyline? I mean, we haven't had you on in a while. We really haven't had a chance to really discuss this with you in depth and in detail. Going into last Sunday, it felt like it was getting kind of stagnant, and then they just really hit the accelerator. Do you see this going very far, or do you think it's going to peter out?
Well, I mean, it's gone on a lot longer than I thought it would, and I don't think I'm going to say anything that anyone else hasn't already said. Aces and Eights needed more wins. I mean, it would have a lot more impact with Bully Ray coming in and winning the title if they'd had more wins going into lockdown. If they had some of those if they got some of those big pay-per-view wins back, like if they won the cage match, that's my problem with it. And you look at the guys on the Aces and Eights roster, that could be the NWOC team from 15 years ago. It's just a bunch of WWE rejects and no-name guys.
I still want an explanation. I still want an explanation as to why Aces and Eights went from 3 guys to 21 guys back down to 12 guys now. No one's explained that yet.
It's not in their budget to fly everyone in every week.
They could ride their bikes to the show. You can iron butt it.
We've had videos. We've had videos of them driving to the show, so that's no excuse.
Hey man, how many bitches can you fit on the back of your motorcycle?
Depends how good looking they are.
They need to get one of those Triple H luxury buses. But
Big Show's bus, so they took the tires off of.
The other gap in logic is that they can just fire it. Hulk Hogan could have fired Aces and Eights the whole time. Well, to me that was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, that's the one thing that right there is probably the only complaint I have about the Aces and Eights storyline. I mean, we're not going to be getting something amazing out of this. It's going to be something that's going to be, within the realm of wrestling. It'll be entertaining for the most part. And Mike, like with you, I'm surprised it's been going this long, and I'm also surprised that it's still able to pick up momentum, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the fact that they can't be fired. That's why when the president came out for it to be Bully Ray, it was one of those things. It's like. D'Lo was the one standing in the way. I mean, is that the angle they're going to take with that? I mean, and again, this harkens back to what we talked about last week and the week before, in that there are plot holes that TNA is relying on us to fill. So do we decide to go, you know what, guys, let's all collectively agree D'Lo is the reason why they couldn't be fired?
The thing is, like, this, like, people are saying, the storyline's awesome. Like, no, you've said it there. Go back 2 weeks. The storyline was pretty crap, and to my mind, it still is pretty average. It's average. Don't get me wrong. Bully Ray's improved it, and it's got a bit more interest. But come on, think about it. This is still a pretty ridiculous storyline. Come on, it's an interesting group, but it's just. I mean, it's gone on too long. There's too many things. There's too many unexplained things. There's too many random gaps that have been thrown in there.
Yeah, but like the thing that, I mean, Lee, you're right. But the only problem I have is that it's very easy to fill them in. I mean, we just filled in one of the big ones. In that, you just say that D'Lo Brown was the reason why they couldn't get fired. My thing is, there's no clear motivation for what these guys are doing. They want to take over TNA, but they don't explain what that means. I mean, if it was basically, we want to hold every belt in this company, then that's clear motivation, and you can actually chart their progress as they go. And that makes for some, that can make for some very, very tension-filled incidences. But as it stands right now, I mean, they have momentum. They have, people's interest with this Bully Ray turn, but they're just not really developing this at all. They're not really giving it any depth, I guess is what I'm saying.
I would also like to see less Brooke Hogan involved in as well, but that's just me.
I would like to see Brooke Hogan, depending on what she was wearing at the time, just for the record.
No, I like James Hornsby puts it in. He just explains how ridiculous it is, and that like a real biker gang, and that oh well, we gotta get married, and that's when we'll trick everybody, like a real biker gang does. Chat's saying they shouldn't even be allowed in the arena because when they bought it Bound for Glory, they had access to the Impact Zone. They ain't in the Impact Zone anymore. This is another really good point. I mean, with these tours and everything, they're not really in the Impact Zone anymore, so they could get that revoked. Again, another plot hole that we could decide to fill for them, but they don't.
That's where you need Joseph Park Esquire to really look through that contract and break it down.
You laugh, but I think that'd be pretty cool if Joseph Park, was actually TNA's main lawyer.
They just send him into a room for a month, and he's supposed to come out with the answer to aces and eights.
You know what would be great is if he actually was partnered with David Otunga.
See, everybody laughed at me when I thought of that.
That's brilliant, Joe.
That's a WWE studio film right there.
Great job,
Otunga and
Joe.
Park.
Great job, Joe.
We are Ebony
Joe,
and Ivory,
kudos to you.
Esquire.
Thank you.
That's gonna bomb like hell, that film. When you
No, it won't. Ebony and Ivory Esquire. I think that'd be brilliantly.
if
They could do that
Wade
on USA. USA would eat that shit up.
if Wade Barrett, someone slightly interesting, can't make a film not bomb, then fucking David Otunga has got no chance.
You only say Wade Barrett is slightly interesting because he's British.
But he is interesting.
Okay, Lee. Wade Barrett or William Regal?
Ooh.
I don't
but
wanna
you see,
talk about this.
it's going to have to be Wade Barrett. It's going to have to be Wade Barrett though, because he's fresher and newer. Regal's still good, but still Wade Barrett.
Yeah, Regal's good for the 70s.
I like Regal, but at the minute,
can't
Wade
stand
Barrett.
So Sting beat Austin Aries via DQ on Thursday. Arguably, probably one of Sting's best matches in recent memory. He's 54, right?
53.
Can you say he's 53? Can you say he possibly still might have some gas left in the tank? Garv, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to say so, and I'm also going to jump down in the doc. Deuce posted a comment on our Impact results, and basically was saying the same thing. He was pointing out that we keep trying to, well, not us, but the IWC in general compares the Icon and the Phenom, and how everyone wanted to see Sting versus Undertaker. But look at the Undertaker. Undertaker is only 47. And is so beat up. He can barely compete. But you look at a guy like Sting, 53, and this was his best match by far in the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's one of those. Well, I'm sorry, go on.
But to look at the two, you had the Undertaker's been on the road from 1990 up until 2010, pretty much traveling, all year round. Where Sting was with WCW, where they didn't do house shows for a few years, and then he took a break from 2001 to 2005 and didn't really wrestle. And even when he came to TNA in 2005, he only wrestled a handful of matches every year. So I mean, he has less
Mileage
punches on it, less mileage on, or his bump card hasn't been punched as many times as the Undertaker.
Yeah, but
as they say in the biz.
But look at that. I mean, and that's another thing that we've also talked about. Why Sting never really made that jump to WWE, and maybe this is why, because he didn't want to be, 53 and brittle, like everyone else has basically turned out to be.
No, he wouldn't get brittle. Come on, they'd give him a contract where he wrestles once, twice a year.
Yeah, now they would, but would they have done that 12 years ago?
No,
way.
Probably. To be fair.
No.
No. Hold on.
way.
Hold the phone. Hold on. No. How do you know that? They might have simply. If you go back 12 years ago in WCW, Sting was the big. Don't look at it like that. Sting was the biggest star in that company at that point. Just to have him on board, you may have taken the gamble.
When WWE bought WCW, how many of those guys wrestled house shows? Damn near all of them.
Whoa. Hold on.
How many of them stuck around? How many of them could do the schedule?
How many? How many were decent?
No. The question is, how many WWE even want to keep around?
There you go.
Like, very few.
The point is, there's no way you can sit there, Lee, and tell me that at this point, if Sting left and worked at WWE versus now, he would have the same amount of miles on him.
No, whoa. I didn't say that. I just said that if Sting signed 12 years ago, it still wouldn't have had that much of an effect. I still think he would have been pretty fit. Because, as Mike said, that all the previous shit that he hadn't worked, constantly for years on end. So he still have some mileage left in him, no matter who he worked for.
Yeah, Undertaker probably wrestled 200 to 250 matches a year for 20 years, where Sting has probably wrestled, I could probably ballpark and say 50 matches, maybe less than that, since he came back to TNA in 2005.
Yeah, so he would still have that.
And just going back to the original question, you know, the thing is although this was a fantastic match, especially for Sting, I mean, look back to his match previous to that, not Lockdown, but his last singles match. I think I want to say it was with Devon, where he got busted open. He is so inconsistent, and although I love this match, I'm wondering how much can we really credit to Sting. We almost have to credit the entire match to how great Austin Aries is, just because of Sting's history over the last 2 years.
So you're saying it's Chris Jericho? Are you saying it's like Chris Jericho syndrome? He can always make whoever he's looking at look really, really good, and that's the story.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Shawn Michaels is able to put on great matches with guys like Sid and guys who are typically bad workers. I mean, Austin Aries, he did that with Sting last Thursday. Not that Sting's a bad worker or anything, but he made him look good, and in turn, Sting gave Austin Aries the rub by being in the ring with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I would argue Austin Aries is pretty much set as far as his trajectory in TNA. I mean, I can't imagine Sting would really help him all that much compared to where he's going anyway. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about TNA is we got the Knockouts Only pay-per-view coming up. It's one of the $15 one-night-only pay-per-views. And unfortunately, it looks like everyone that they've asked has said no to them, according to the rumors anyway. Sarita, Angelina Love, Kaz's girlfriend, whoever that is, and Awesome Kong. It's hard to really... do we really want to harp on TNA and shit on them for this and say that this is, like, indicative of the Knockouts thing? Or is this what I think it is, and it's just the dirt sheets trying to get a rise out of everybody?
No, this is TNA who went, if you go back in time, took a big shit on the Knockouts division and pissed a lot of people off. And they're like, TNA's like, oh, do you want to come back? And they're like, fuck you. No.
Yeah, I'm with Joe. I mean, you built up this incredible division with Awesome Kong and Hamada and these great wrestlers, and just booted them to get a bunch of babes with big tits.
Were they getting paid?
Not all the time, but we'll get to that later, because that'll be right before Win Fail. Everybody isn't familiar with if they might not have gotten paid.
Yeah, but that rant, Kevin, that rant was because of the whole debacle that TNA was pushing their knockouts through. So, and it's definitely just the knockout side. If you look at all the other pay-per-views, or those $15 pay-per-views, they are bringing back a lot of old talent that supposedly had issues, like the name is skipping me.
Amazing Red?
No, they were like the new Hardy Boys. I forget what they're called now.
Motor City Machine Guns?
No, not them.
No. Generation Next.
Yes. Generation Me.
Generation Next was a Michigan faction. Okay.
So they came back.
Generation Me,
it was fine.
Bucks.
The Bucks. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Mike, I mean, you got a point? Follow up on?
Yeah, I think this Knockouts pay-per-view, it's really a day late for them. They should have done this 2009, 2008, 2009, 2010, when they're really at the height of their Knockouts division. But like Kevin said, they treated them like crap, and my understanding is that their Knockouts got paid next to nothing for what they did. And, that's the reason why a lot of them are upset with the company and, don't really stick around there.
Well, how many people do you think will buy it?
From what I heard, they would make less than like extras would make on the show. They would make $500 or something.
Well, for a while they weren't getting paid, which of course begs the question: why are you doing jobs?
Anyway, but my problem with this is the thinness of the roster, and that $15, and really on TNA we saw a tag match between Velvet, Mickie James, Tara, and Gail Kim. With the exception of ODB, that's basically their entire Knockouts roster right there. So I can't imagine why you pay $15 for what amounts to what we saw for free on Thursday. So, like Mike, like you said, they really should have hit this, or at least if they had the roster like they did back then yeah, I mean, this would be amazing to see. But otherwise, right now, the roster is so thin compared to where it was. Okay, so that was TNA for last week. Let's dive right into some WWE action here. Big rumor and implications for WrestleMania, which basically everything going on forward now is going to be all about WrestleMania, is that CM Punk has been pulled from all house shows. Apparently a lot of people are reporting, I heard WrestleZone has an exclusive, that he injured his arm in his match versus Kane last week, and that's the reason why WWE only had him work just a segment and no match. Question is, if this is true, how much do you think this hurts WrestleMania? Because let's face it, Taker is 500 years old, and CM Punk's going to have to carry him this entire match, according to every commenter on there. Mike, what do you think?
No, I don't think it'll affect it too much. CM Punk, he'll come out. You know, he's old school. He'll wrestle injured, and he'll tape up the arm for one match. And I'm not too worried unless they say something super serious. I'm not too worried about it. And I don't know where people are getting this from. That Undertaker, he wrestles that one match a year, and it's an amazing match. I don't see where people are getting that Punk has to carry him. I think Undertaker can and will carry his own weight at WrestleMania.
Okay, Joe, what do you think?
I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. I think maybe they're resting Punk up, but I don't think it's going to be an issue with Taker versus Punk. I mean, they're just getting ready for a good match and making sure Punk stays healthy so they can have that match.
Okay, Lee?
Yeah, I don't think it'll affect it. I think playing him off house shows, it doesn't really hurt any kind of sales or anything like that either, because you've got John Cena, haven't you? And the Shield, so that covers that. No, it won't hurt much. Won't do anything.
All right, Kev, what do you think?
He'll be ready to rock. Rest him. He's going to be fine.
Okay, the reason why I wanted to get all you guys' opinions on this now is I wanted to bring up one kind of twist to this, in that, remember when Cena had his injury? That basically led to the rise of Ryback. And they pulled Cena basically entirely from his feud with CM Punk and let Ryback take over for a time being, kind of rest him on the bench. So with CM Punk no longer holding the title, this match with WrestleMania is really the only build he has, so arguably after WrestleMania he's done. Do you see them pulling CM Punk off? Because he did hold the belt, wrestled constantly for like the past year and a half. Do you see them pulling him back and maybe using somebody else to fill that slot? And if so, who? Because I know who I would pick, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Kevin?
Maybe after Mania, I could see it. I mean, the guy is due some time off regardless. So I could definitely see it after Mania. And Ziggler would easily be slotted in there.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so, I mean, okay, after Mania, I could definitely see it. Whether or not it happens, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, the guy could use some time off, and Ziggler's ready. So, if there's a time to do it, yeah, I mean, give Punk 3 months, maybe even 6. Let him heal up, let him recharge the batteries, and come back strong.
Okay. Mike? Oh, I'm sorry, Lee, go on.
I'm just going to say, 2 months ago, I'd have agreed with you. About 2 months ago. But how worthless is Ziggler just seeing at the minute? There's no one else just picking up how just bad Ziggler. It's not the fact that obviously he's wrestling; it's perfectly fine. But the way that they've booked him, I don't like it. I honestly think it's hurt him this year so far.
I'm going to agree with you. But I think they're booking him. If they wouldn't have stuck AJ with him, or if they didn't add Big E Langston, I think there could still be potential. Right now, he's just languishing. I mean, they put people around him and they're not doing anything with him. So it just seems to be a big clog.
See, I don't think so.
He's been go ahead, Harrison.
Oh, no, go on, Mike. No, I want to hear your opinion because this is something else I want to bring up about Ziggler, and it's something I've been thinking about for a while.
I was thinking that, he's really cooled down AJ. She was super hot on TV, and it just seems like now that she's with Ziggler, she doesn't mean as much as she did back, during in the fall and late summer.
I think that's mostly down to not having really any idea what to do with her after that. But no, what I think is happening with Ziggler right now is this has been an interesting thing to watch since they spun AJ and Big E on Ziggler, because when I see Ziggler right now and over the past arguably 5 months, I think this is what WWE had planned for CM Punk back when he was running SES before that whole thing fell apart. I think this is the basic build that the kind of archetype they were going to use for CM Punk to make him into a main event title contender. And when the Strange Society fell apart and everything happened with Sarita and all that stuff, I think then they had that kind of like template, and now they're applying it to Ziggler as almost like what they picture a surefire way to make a main eventer out of him is. And I've been watching it, and I've been trying to think of it through that lens, and the more I watch it, the more I realize I really think it's a mistake. Because, Mike, like you said, they've really, really cooled AJ Lee on this entirely. I mean, she's basically a non-entity at this point. At the same time, by giving her and Big E there, it kind of really hurts Ziggler's credibility when, yeah, well, I guess the only thing that really helps him is the kind of coward aspect of it, that he won't back up what he says. But we see him in the ring, and he's so talented that it's hard to believe that. It's not like he's such a great talker, but the second you confront him about it, he runs away. No, he's so good in the ring that it doesn't really make much sense.
Well, being a chicken shit, that's part of being heel.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's an aspect of it, but I mean, it's the only reason I could think of having him with Big E Langston or something like that is to have someone to hide behind, but he really hasn't done that. I mean, Big E basically helps him out a couple bumps.
Big E is terrible at ringside, too. Is it just me? He gets caught every week the first thing he does and thrown out of ringside. What's the point of having him there?
Yeah, the thing is, though, when that happens too often as well, it just gets pointless. They're making him look bad as well. I mean, Big E's, he's not exactly, he's pretty relatively new to the roster. And they're not doing him any favours either, to be fair.
Okay.
To be fair, they're not really doing any of them any favours.
That's a fair point. Anyway, to bring it back to the original point, Mike, I wanted to ask you about that. The idea of Punk possibly taking a rest after WrestleMania, and would you put Ziggler in that fold, or would you put someone else there?
Well, I was saying about Punk taking a rest. He signed his contract about 2 years ago, and I know WWE likes to do their contracts in 2-year cycles. I'm wondering if his contract is up again in July, and he might just wrestle up until then and then take a break.
So you think he would renegotiate with extended time at the beginning, or do you think he would just, just give me a little bit of time off?
Probably just give me a little bit of time off. Maybe he'll work through SummerSlam and then take the fall off. But I mean, that's still a long time away.
I was thinking he could possibly work Extreme Rules, because WWE seems to love Extreme Rules, don't they? At the minute, the past 2 years they've loved it. Mm-hmm. But then he takes a break off, and then he comes back at SummerSlam, so they have something big to promote at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
that makes sense too, because then during that time they can negotiate the contract without having to have him on TV. Chat saying, is Lee saying that Ziggler, AJ, and Big E are 3MB 2.0?
Well, as funny as it may sound, they're not doing anything. They're all brilliant. Honestly, I think they're all brilliant. AJ is brilliant. Ziggler's brilliant. Big E's still coming in, but he looks good. But realistically, what have they done?
Well, between the three of them, who would be the Ribber? Who would be the funny one? Who would be the bad boy?
Well, there's only one bad boy in that lot. Big E, you've got to have him as the bad boy.
Is it because he's black?
See, I have him as the Ribber.
I would also imagine that Big E plays bass. Just a thought.
Plays a mean bass. I love that episode of South Park. Okay. So to bring back what I said earlier about them being Ziggler, AJ, and Big E being like SES 2.0. I mean, am I off on that one? I mean, is there something there, or do you think it's just three people? It kind of works.
Yeah, they're not getting anywhere near the kind of heat that the Straight Edge Society was getting. They're way cooler than Straight Edge Society was at any point of their run. I mean, CM Punk, he was just tremendous when he was doing that, and I think he had a better pit crew with him. The guys on the outside, Serena and Luke Gallows, I think were way better than whatever Big E and AJ are currently doing in their role.
Yeah, and that's where I think it comes in. I mean, you have B. Langston who stands there. At least Luke Gallows did something. I mean, I know it's not much, but
and if you're a boob man, at least you had Serena.
That's true too.
I kind of think though that it's like Ziggler and AJ and Big E kind of sum up WWE's undercard at the minute, because there's nothing really going on. Like you look at the card, there's nothing even from last night. You get rid of the main event match of WrestleMania. What the fuck is going on, really? what is going on? There's nothing set in stone anywhere. It is a bit of a mess.
The tag team championship match is set in stone now.
Yeah, but that's a mess. But it's a mess. That situation is a mess.
It's WWE's mess with relying too often on the part-timers. They bring in, they don't want Rock, Brock Lesnar, Undertaker. They don't want them wrestling on Raw. They don't want to give away their big match. They want it to be on WrestleMania. And that takes away, I think, a lot from story building week to week on Raw.
I'll tell you what, Mike, very quickly, I know I'm not one person to say that WWE should judge everybody on part-timers, but 3 weeks without The Rock on Raw as WWE champion is a long time.
Oh, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
A long time, that, isn't it?
I'll say, I said it on the blog, and I took a little bit of heat for it. Special guest champion. That's exactly what he is right now.
No, you're exactly right. Never give you heat's full of crap. This is BS.
I don't mind The Rock. Oh, sorry, go.
Quick question. What's worse, Rock not being on anything, or Jeff Hardy not making the UK tour as champion?
The thing is, though.
I always had a good reason for Hardy.
I don't really call that good.
Well, no, it's not good.
It's better than.
I would say at least The Rock is showing up to red carpet events holding the title. He's getting, he's showing that off. Wherever he goes, at least he has that going for him.
Come on, wait. Jeff Hardy showed up at that bar down the street from his house, carrying the title.
That's what I was gonna say. While Jeff Hardy's just sitting in Cameron, North Carolina, painting next to his Divas title.
The problem is, though, with going to different shows where you WWE title belt, does it really mean anything? It's good publicity, but realistically, is any more people going to watch the product?
Probably.
Really?
Well, WWE, they like to get their video of The Rock standing with Sylvester Stallone or Justin Bieber, and he's got the title next to them, so they can show all three of them in a shot. And so and so is a WWE guy because look at this picture. Here's the proof. Here's
exactly.
The Rock standing next to Kim Kardashian.
Lee, the reason why they do that is not to get someone who's a Kim Kardashian fan or a Bruce Willis fan to watch wrestling. It's to get the fans of wrestling that don't want to admit it to admit it. Because then they want us to go out and recruit people for their product. That's why they do it. That's why they do all those did you know how popular WWE is and how many Twitter and Facebook followers there are, is to get this new crop of wrestling fans that are kids to realize this isn't weird if you're into wrestling. That's why they're not targeting us anymore. Because when we were growing up, we were the outsiders, and they knew that. They can't do that anymore.
Are you calling me Scott Hall?
I am calling you Scott Hall.
Now you mention it, Joe.
You got his liver.
On my body, you don't have a liver. Yeah.
You should return that. Go on.
Hey, yo.
All right. So the other thing I want to talk about besides CM Punk is Fandango. We've had the debut. Now we got this
Harrison.
Wait.
Say that again, please. Sorry, say it again.
No, I'm not.
Say it properly.
We had Fandango.
Fandango.
That's better. Thank you.
You got to draw out the A. You got to breathe the A's more. Fandango.
Let me tell you what we actually need to say. This is the worst angle I've ever seen since the Portuguese Man of War out of Montoya. This has no chance. This is a turd wrapped in a diaper shit on a freaking wrestling ring. I mean,
has anyone
really when Fandango is standing there hearing this being pitched to him, he's always like, yeah, this will work. I mean, that's what he's thinking. This is terrible. I mean, even Cole, he gets in the ring and Cole's like making fun of him. Like he gets that light, bright thing behind him, like, oh, check this out. Here's me in my pose, and I just lit this up.
I can't remember where.
I mean, Jericho's like, I want my movie tickets. That was freaking awesome. It's so bad. I'm sitting here watching this like, oh my god, this is horrible.
But we agree this is
follow that up.
But we agree that this is Khali's best mic work ever, right?
Oh yeah. Fandango!
He just kind of butchered it.
Like, I guess we could give him that one that he put over Khali, which no one has been able to do.
Yeah,
He's
and
like,
look at,
all right, I guess I got that going for me.
and look at Natalia. She did the best way of trying to get Fandango in a match.
Look, I'm gonna stop you all there. I kind of like Fandango.
What
I
is
agree.
wrong with you?
I agree. I also
I'm
kind
sorry.
of like
I'm sorry. Okay.
It's
It's
terrible.
lame.
I
It's
don't even
lame.
know
Okay,
you
it's
people
lame.
anymore.
It's lame. It's
Hang on,
lame.
hang on. Let Lee speak his piece so we can. So
okay.
Mike, Kevin, and I
It's
can make fun
lame.
of him.
Okay, it's lame. It is lame. Don't get me wrong. It is
No,
lame.
don't go back on what you said because we're going to make fun of you. Tell us how you
fuck
love
up.
him.
Shut up.
Tell me, say his name. Say you love him.
I will say, yeah, so shut up. Anyway, no, honestly, it's a lame gimmick, but but it's catchy. It's one of those things. It's catchy fun.
But see,
Dark,
this is the problem I
go.
have.
It's
not-
catchy, and
But this is the problem that I have. It's not so bad it's good. It's just bad. It doesn't
No, no.
fall into that category for me.
you haven't
Please,
seen
so
him
is
wrestle.
mono. Okay, I don't want
What?
that. All right, I don't.
What?
Mono's catchy too, and I don't want that shit either.
Okay.
Hey, here's the thing.
You have 2 weeks
My
off of
wife-
work. Why wouldn't you want it?
My wife is watching. It just happens to catch a bit of wrestling as she's walking through the room. Then tells me the next day she woke up with Fandango's theme and Fandango in her head. That's doing something.
It's not following through. That's the thing. I mean,
You never follow through.
It got me some. What?
Okay. It followed through for Joe. So that's the thing. If you want Joe's lady to have sex with you, show her a Fandango promo. Now we all know the key to her panties. There we go.
I'm kidding about all that. I got any from that? I don't get anything. from wrestling.
I forget where I read it.
Come on. It's all men in banana hammocks, and I don't get anything.
All right, Mike, you were saying?
I forget where I read it. Someone pointed out that he only uses like the accents on his name.
Yeah, that was
You know,
me.
he speaks normally. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was. Okay.
Yeah, it's only
I
when
was
he
about
talks
to
about
take
his
credit. I was gonna take credit for that joke, but then I couldn't remember where I read it. So
Good thing you didn't, because Mike, that would have been awesome. If you were like, and so what I think, and Garvin's like, oh, you read that on my Twitter feed, huh?
this is a Mike Cupack original.
Like you.
Oh, that came from WrestleZone.
There's nothing original about you.
All right. Garvin, defend Fandango.
Well, do you guys remember ever really watching the Johnny Curtis promos from when he was in NXT? The weird,
No,
creepy
he wanted to be
character?
Mr. America or something?
Worse than this.
No, the Mr. America was someone else. I can't remember who that was.
Mr. America. I mean, Hulk Hogan was.
No,
Mr.
it's
No,
someone else.
in NXT.
Or
No,
Mr.
it's like
USA.
America.
Yeah, it was like
Something,
Mr. USA, yeah.
But
Anyway,
anyways,
go
he was really creepy. He basically, this is just an extension of that. That they just added the dancing gimmick because it gets instant heat, and it is getting good heat. He's getting booed the entire time. If he was getting bad heat, they would be cheering boring, or they would be totally silent.
They chanted, "You can't wrestle at him."
Well, because he hasn't wrestled yet.
Yeah, but that's still a bad sign.
I'm not going to go as far as to say he's getting massive heat, because I don't personally think he is getting good heat. I just think it needs more time.
So he's got JBL heat.
No, JBL heat was great. Oh, I love JBL. I love JBL.
Back
Can't
when
say
he
that.
had the title, it was just shut. It was just like, get off the TV because
Look, Joe,
have no interest.
You guys are thinking of X-Pac heat.
Yeah, this is brought
That's
up
Yeah.
in the live chat.
Joe, every time JBL came out, do you not remember his theme? And then that big horse went.
Did you say that was a horse?
Not a horse.
It's just a
sorry.
cow.
And that was the
Cow,
point when I
it's a
turned
cow.
the television off.
Yeah, it's but I mean, okay. So, what do you think then? Other than time, that's just where you're at. You just need the crowd to warm up to it because it's so weird. Do you think that's what it is, or do you think that's just what? Because I mean, I would accept that in the case of Cesaro. Now, granted, we haven't really seen Fandango wrestle, so we don't know how good he is in the ring. Whereas Cesaro wasn't really coming out to a crowd, but he was so amazing in the ring. It was like, yes, here is a guy you have to give time to. However, Tensai, I mean, there's that side of it too. There's that thing of no matter how much time you give something, if the crowd ain't gonna like it, they ain't gonna like it. So you're arguing that with Fandango, you want to lean more towards Cesaro than Tensai, is what you're saying. Is there anything that you could give someone like me or Mike or Kevin hope and say, look, just look at this one thing, this has potential?
Look, I'll give you hope, okay? Do you want to see JTG in a ring, or do you want to see Johnny Curtis in a ring? It's up to you.
So, Lee, your argument is...
JTG or...
Yeah.
Dude, okay.
Here's
Harrison, answer the question first.
I'm not.
Answer the question.
Garvin, go.
Well, here's a better thing. Just go back and look at Johnny Curtis's work in NXT and everything, and see what they did with him then. Then you'll see what they can do with Fandango. And the thing is that we haven't seen him wrestle once or twice.
I think I do.
He actually.
I've seen bad angles, I've seen bad gimmicks, and this is one of them. So I will objectively watch it, but I don't think it's going to matter. That is my dead honest truth. I will objectively watch him wrestle when it finally happens, whatever decade that's going to be from now. Let me mark the next Olympics, and I'll see him wrestle. I honestly, and I'll be objective, but it's not going to happen. I'm telling you, this gimmick is too bad. It's not going to work.
Kev, what were you doing when Katie Vick came on the screen? Just curiously, just out of my own personal interest.
Not watching wrestling.
Okay.
See, I actually saw Fandango wrestle. He did the Dark Show when I went to SmackDown back in November. Yeah, he was okay. I don't remember who he wrestled, but he had an okay match. He only did 3 or 4 minutes. It was okay.
Okay,
right. And you have to take that with a grain of salt because it's a dark match, and you could say, he did okay. Because nobody knew who he was. Nobody gave it. It's like watching R-Truth versus who was it? It was R-Truth versus with the duckbill on his head.
Tyson Kidd.
Tyson Kidd. For a 20-minute match at fucking Raw. Kevin, you were there. You remember that.
Yes, I do.
That was abysmal.
Yes.
Nobody gave a rat's ass, and that's probably what that Johnny Curtis match was.
We usually reserve going to refill our beers for the Divas matches. Yeah. Joe and I were like, we're out of here.
Well, they were running the Fandango promos by that point. People did know who he was, but yeah, it wasn't. People weren't as interested as they would be now. I'll give you that.
All right, so then basically the argument is, is there anything you just think that if we just give Fandango time, let him wrestle, it'll present itself, or are you really?
Well, what happened? What happened is we gave you time on this podcast to develop and grow your skills, and it just happened to work.
I'm sorry, Lee. Sorry, Lee. Which episode did you start doing the show on? 110, 120?
I don't need to mention that. We're not talking about me. We're talking about you at the minute currently. You're the person who needs to...
Harrison, do you feel that you're not good enough to be talked about?
No, I just find it weird that Lee said we on that one. Is
we ourselves.
We are a team. Team Lee. Or Team FTW, as we like to know it commonly.
As we say in America.
As you say in the colonies, Team FTW. Team Lee, the rest of the world. Like we say,
I'm going to make my official Fandango prediction, though. Yeah. I think by SummerSlam, they're going back to the Gimmiculator 5000 to give him a new gimmick.
So
I think
Isn't that what we said about Brodus Clay?
Who's going to get reissued a new gimmick first? Fandango or 3MB?
Fandango.
3MB. What?
3MB actually has something stupid as it is. It's still mildly amusing. This is terrible.
What is wrong with you?
Dude,
what?
3MB is
People want to see Heath Slater get his ass kicked.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you, Jinder Mahal in a black turban and assless chaps, that alone keeps them on the bill.
Did you just say... Did you just say Jinder Mahal?
Yeah, he did.
I corrected.
Well, yeah, that might be his new gimmick.
Jinder Mahal.
Then he'll team up with Sheamus.
And
Lobster Head and Limes.
No, I like the idea. Yeah, 3MB. Yeah, you love to hate him. That's the point. You love just watching Heath Slater get his ass kicked. Is that where you're going to go with Fandango? Can you really hang a pay-per-view on that? Anyway, the other thing I want to talk about is, on Raw, like we talked about, Fandango, where's my tickets? Jericho and Fandango ran into each other. And it seems that Jericho, over his basic role of the past 2 years, has been getting people over Is that it? Should that be Jericho's role going into possibly SummerSlam, definitely WrestleMania, basically getting Fandango over on the crowd? I'm gonna. I really, Kev. I mean, Lee, you said your piece. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Garv, do you really think that's such a great idea for them to do that? And then I want to hear Mike's point of view, and then we'll move on.
Ah, man. I would rather see Jericho versus Fandango, where Fandango actually has an opportunity to do well, rather than seeing Fandango versus Khali and no one will win. So if the role that they want to push Jericho in is to basically help elevate and make stars, then yeah, I would definitely go this route if they want Johnny Curtis to get over, and I think they do.
Okay, Mike, do you have a counterpoint to that?
No, I think at best Jericho will just give him a good match, but go over Fandango if they fight each other at WrestleMania. I see nothing more than that. He'll just give him a good match.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I guess at the very least, if he makes his debut wrestling event at WrestleMania against Jericho, that does kind of give him the best possible situation of, like we're talking about, we don't see him wrestle. And then really my hope is that if for Fandango to really go, because it's such a weird thing that they're doing, he almost has to just put in the match of a lifetime and then just shut up the crowd and just be like, this is why I'm here. Because right now we're not really seeing that. Joe, what do you think? I mean, do you think it's a good role for Jericho?
It's a good role for Jericho to push people, yes. Is it a good idea to have him push Fandango? At this point, I'm going to say no. Only because Jericho is so established and Fandango hasn't done shit. In the eyes of the WWE audience, the Fandango character, the wrestler is supposedly green, even though we know he's got experience and can work a good match. I think it's too far of a push right now for Fandango, the character, to go against Jericho at Mania.
Okay.
I mean, Jericho's so established, it's you really hope for
something bigger.
Something a bit bigger. I mean, Ziggler Jericho would be good. 3MB versus Jericho could possibly work because, I mean, hell, Jericho beat all those legends at, that one year.
Yeah. Mike, you were saying?
Jericho is definitely getting the Miz treatment from last year, where last year he was fighting for the title, and this year he might have a match against Fandango, best case scenario for him.
Yeah, that's how he's going to get his paycheck.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, speaking of WrestleMania, WrestleMania 29, we're going to have our preview show Saturday, April 6th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on FTWLive.com. We're going to have a WrestleMania preview conversation. You're more than welcome to join us. It's going to be fantastic. I think we're going to be doing a couple specials leading up to it, so definitely stay tuned for that. Right now, the official card is we got Rock versus Cena for the WWE Championship. We got Del Rio versus Jack Swagger for the World Championship. Punk versus Taker, Triple H versus Lesnar. Actually, you know what? We should talk about that real quick. Actually, I'm going to kick that to Ask FTW. We can talk about that later. Triple H versus Lesnar. Ryback versus Mark Henry. Team Hell No versus Langston and Ziggler. Possibly Sheamus, Big Show, and Orton versus The Shield. And we have guys kicking around in there too. I mean, Miz needs his Cesaro needs to defend his U.S. Championship, possibly against Miz. Wade Barrett needs to defend his IC against who knows who. Layla and Caitlyn are probably going to be in a match. We got to have Fandango, I'm assuming, in there. Jericho, maybe the Bellas because they just came back. We got a bunch of people that we still got kicking around. Primetime players, Funkadactyls, Brodus, Tensai. It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out as the weeks close in on WrestleMania. But now it is time for Ask FTW. You ask, we answer. You can send us questions and topics to talk about via email to questions@ftwpodcast.com, on Twitter by using the hashtag AskFTW, by posting on our Facebook wall or Google Plus community, or even leaving a comment on our site. There is absolutely no reason for you not to get your voice heard now. First thing we're going to talk about is from Joey K on Facebook. Asked, Abyss had this feud with Bully before he disappeared. Now raised champ, will Joseph Parks go after the title? Let's kick it to Joe first. Joe.
I hope to God he doesn't. I hate Joseph Parks as a character. I can't stand it. It is one of the dumbest things TNA's done. And then he's so shocked every time he wins. Oh. He looks like the surprise or the dramatic hamster or whatever it is. Dun, dun, dun.
Dramatic chipmunk, or no, it was a hedgehog or something.
Hedgehog, whatever.
That was a hedgehog. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Yeah, it's just like so wide-eyed and freaky, and it's a stupid gimmick, and they've gone too long with it. Either bring back Abyss or find an entirely new gimmick.
Okay. Lee, your thoughts on that?
I can't believe it. I can't believe you just said that. Abyss was one of the worst characters in TNA history.
Joey K.
How can you say that? Oh my god, I'm so disappointed in you, Joe. It's not even funny at the minute. I'm so disappointed. Okay, Joseph
Don't
Park
call
is
it
great.
out like you know him personally. Just answer the goddamn question.
Joseph Park is a great character. Should he go for the title? Not a fucking clue. No way at all. But he's still a great character.
All right, Mike, go.
I like him I like the Joseph Park thing. I don't think he should go for the title though. He should do other things. Stay in the mid card.
Okay. Garth?
Joseph Park is a great character if you realize he is playing a lawyer who is playing a wrestler, rather than a wrestler playing a lawyer. I think overall it's a great stick for him, but no way he's going to go after Bully Ray. But definitely, if they wanted to make a return for Abyss, it would be right around now.
Okay. Personally, for me, yeah. I like the idea of him going after the title, but definitely not winning it. I just the idea of Joseph Park. I mean, okay, if the other shoe drops, because we're always talking about how are they going to square this Abyss Joseph Park thing. If that's how it happens, awesome. But otherwise, I don't know. I mean, having him go after the title is one thing. Having Joseph Park as the TNA World Champion, it's too much. That's just too much. That's not as bad as when that idiot held the WCW title. I'm not even going to mention his name, but it's bad.
Ric Flair's a legend.
I was going to say Hulk Hogan, but it's fine.
Garv, you got anything from the live chat?
Basically agreeing that Park is okay as a character, and a TV title reign is more appropriate for him.
Okay.
You guys are all morons.
Robert from G Plus asked, are we disappointed with the stipulation between Brock Lesnar and Triple H at WrestleMania 29? Joe, you go first.
I loved the idea of winner gets Stephanie. I'm sorry, I would throw my hat into the match, throw my name into the hat for that match. Giggity. But I'm not, I mean, the only thing I could think of is how are they going to turn this into the new streak versus career thing? Like every year Triple H has to put his career on the line. That's all I got.
No, that's fair. Kevin, what do you got?
Yeah, I think it was a little surprising and a little unnecessary. I mean, is it horrible? No, there's been worse things that have been done, but I just don't think that it was necessary from a booking standpoint for a match that everybody's already excited about. So yeah, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, in the overall scheme of things for the match.
Okay. Lee, what do you think?
I didn't mind it because it was quite unpredictable because you don't really know who's going to win because either guy could win realistically. But at the same time, they could have done so much more, realistically. I mean, they really went for the out, to be honest with you. It's disappointing. The booking for the match is not great, to be honest. It feels a bit, I don't know, it just feels like WWE they're almost in a holding pattern. And it's unusual because normally they kick into gear about now. And, unusual.
All right. Mike, what do you think?
I'm not too disappointed with it. I kind of figured they would do a no holds barred match. I think everybody did. As for Triple H putting up his career, it adds a little more to the match. I'm not too disappointed with it. I would like to see Triple H lose and have to retire and then go to work at Walmart as a greeter, like all other retired people do.
I would love to see that.
That's exactly the job he'd have.
Spitting water on people.
Hello, come to Walmart.
We're glad you're here at Walmart.
We got 15% off.
The greeter of greeters.
If that ever happens, we will never get Kevin to shop anywhere else.
Nope.
He'd get all his
You
shit at
little
Walmart.
punks Stop running off with our shopping carts.
Garf, what do you think?
Somebody's shoplifting and he hits him with a sledge.
Garf, what do you think about the stipulation?
Welcome to Costco. I love you. Yeah, I mean,
And then he's got some 20-year-old manager who, Paul, stop hitting the customers. Yes, Mr. Stevens.
Thank God I don't live in America.
agreed.
Admittedly, you'd shop there.
Yeah.
Am I
would love their
disappointed
low
with
prices.
this match? Am I disappointed with this match? No, not really. I think the stipulation is fine. I would have been disappointed if it was another cage match, or like a no DQ match. I think this opens up some possibilities where, Brock can do some more MMA style moves, and it would make sense for the match. The Lions Den match, though, Mike, I'm thinking that would have been it. That should have been it.
When you tweeted me on Monday, I wasn't watching Raw, so I thought they really made it a Lions Den match. I went, holy crap.
Wouldn't it have been good if they would have just teased that for a brief second?
I don't know. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, it's not but I mean, they could have done something like a Hell in a Cell or something like that, or they could have made it really ridiculous. But I mean, a no holds barred match always to me just struck me as guess what we're going to be doing a lot? We're going to be doing these really, really weird holds and allowing us to rest for 5 minutes. I can't imagine. I mean, it's not a hardcore match. It's not like a TLC match or anything like that. So, I'm just expecting more MMA stuff. I'm not really expecting anything crazy to come out of this. I mean, maybe like what, a power bomb? I don't know. I mean, a pile driver? I mean, that'd be another thing they could do. I don't know. Garb, you got anything from the chat?
Yeah, Jared says the career stip pretty much guarantees Triple H will win. I don't know if I agree with that with them.
No, I do. That's one thing I don't like about it.
The one thing about it though, about a no holds barred match, I'm sorry, it's essentially they've gone. Heyman went through everything. It's a no DQ match. It's all it is. It's
Not
another
exactly.
name, and unless you're going to bring back Zeus, you don't use no holds barred as a name of a match. I'm sorry.
Not necessarily, because I don't think you can actually go and get a table or anything like that, right? You can't use props. You can't use a sledgehammer.
No, he said nothing when he did his little spiel. He's no countouts, no DQs, blah blah blah.
So
What sounds more marketable though? A no DQ match or a no holds barred match?
No disqualifications.
No holds barred.
Don't ever.
Street fight.
Ever do that again. All right, Ryan and on YouTube. So I noticed that when you
Patties.
ran down the WrestleMania card, you didn't mention that Dolph Ziggler was also without a match. How do you feel that Ziggler in Mania context? What do you guys think about that? I mean, do you think the idea of him cashing on WrestleMania is a possibility? Joe, what do you think?
I would like to see him cash at Mania. But if you're doing that, I mean, at that point, Del Rio is going to win because you're not going to see him cash in on Swags, and I would still love to see Swagger take that title.
Okay, fair enough. Kevin, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, he's running out of time to cash it in, and Mania, seems like a good time if they want to put the guy on the top. So, I mean, that to me seems, and I hate to look at it this way, but it seems almost inevitable. If they're not going to put him in a match, he's going to be cashing it in. So, I mean, I think that's where it's going.
All right. Lee?
I think another reason why that you might cash it in as well is because they don't really see they don't really actually see Swagger or Del Rio working as a champion. I think it's tired, slowed down, and it's not very. I don't think we'll trust in either of them with a title, to be honest with you.
Okay. Mike, what do you think?
I think Del Rio's working pretty well as champion, and I still continue to think that they're going all in with him. I don't think Dolph's going to cash in at Mania anymore. I'm getting that feeling again, where a month ago I thought for sure he was cashing at Mania. Now I'm not so sure. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel.
The problem is with that though, their segments go pretty dead pretty quickly, very quickly.
All right. Garth, go on.
Yeah, Mike and I, we discussed this on Saturday, and I think I said the same thing. Where now that we know that he can actually take this to Money in the Bank, the pay-per-view itself, I don't see it. They sort of kind of are teasing the idea that he could leave WrestleMania with 2 titles, but I just don't see a reason why you would tie him with both titles.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. The only thing is, look, Mike, Garv, you guys bring up really good points, and yeah, now they said about the Money in the Bank thing, it makes sense. But for me, mostly, it's that WrestleMania is always about the big thing, and they want to cram as much of that on there as they possibly can. So I don't know why they would hesitate to pull the trigger on this. I mean, it just makes WrestleMania that more of a special occasion where every single goddamn match is a main event. So for me, yeah, I think he would cash it on there. I don't know if he'd win, but if he did and walks out with 2 titles, that'd be pretty huge. All right. What do you got? What's the chat got, Garf?
Dolph needs to cash in at WrestleMania to make history. It seems to be split. Most saying yes or no. There's no definite. But as far as him making history, he's had plenty of opportunities to do that. I don't think he needs to do it at WrestleMania to make that history. I think he can do that at the next pay-per-view or wait till Money in the Bank to make history.
Okay. Perennial and amazing FTW contributor Nick Alexander points out that the Aces and Eights is kind of a sausage fest. I was wondering if Evil. Oh no, I'm sorry. I really want to butcher this. Ivolaisi Velez.
Ivolise.
No, I'm butchering it. Let me butcher it. Anyway, come back and associate herself with Aces and Eights in order to take the Knockouts title. If not her, do you think a current Knockout could possibly do the same thing? What about you, Joe? You think a Knockout should be an Aces and Eights?
I guess, you could throw one in. The only one who I think fits is ODB.
I got another name, but okay.
Okay.
Well, why do you say ODB? Just
is she not redneck enough to be in a biker gang?
All right, that's a good enough reason for me, I guess. Kevin.
Dude, seriously, I'm right with Joe. How has ODB not already been in Aces and Eights? I mean, she should walk down with a bottle of Jack, with the shirt on. I mean, nobody goes all out like ODB. If you're going to put a chick in there, it has to be her.
All right. Lee, what do you think?
I think Kevin covered my answer pretty well, to be fair. I'll stick with that.
Sorry.
That's exactly what I would have said.
All right, fair enough. Garv, what do you think?
Well, Tara is already a biker, so that
Yeah,
kind of
that's
makes
what I was
sense.
thinking.
Gail Kim, I think, is heel enough to be over there. If they moved ODB over, then it would once again be another heel turn, and Mike hates those.
Yes.
No,
That
Mike's
would
just
make
saying
8.
that. Yeah, if we get 2 more, we get a free sub from TNA. I think that's what Mike's saying. Yeah, for me, it's Tara all the way. If it had to be a knockout, it makes the most sense. I mean, she works better as a heel than she does a face, and she is a biker. She's freaking rode her bike into the arena to drop people off like a taxi service, a very awesome and sexy taxi service. But still, it makes the most sense for it to have, for me, to kind of make Tara make the turn, because it would have more of an impact than bringing up somebody that you got to kind of remind people who it is. At Wrestling Fusion, with WrestleMania getting closer, do you think that WWE will release some talent shortly before it? And if so, who? Joe.
You're gonna see JTG go. You're gonna see who else? I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 3MB break up, and you're gonna see Jinder and Drew go. I think Slater's gonna stick around.
Okay. Kevin.
Yeah, the usual scrap heap. JTG makes a lot of sense. Is McGillicuddy still on the roster? Is he gone? I'll throw him out there. I mean, take the Saturday Morning Slam roster, find out who is losing right now, and that's probably it. So, I mean, it's business. You gotta cut guys if they're not gonna be on TV. So it is what it is.
I don't know about the Saturday Morning Slam thing, because didn't Mick Foley just become GM of that?
Yes, he did.
If you take guys off of Saturday Morning Slam, what's Diva Joe gonna write about?
Sorry, David.
Lee, what do you think?
Not trying to shit on your show.
I don't think they'll release talent before WrestleMania. I don't think they've ever done that. They won't do that. Secondly, I'm really surprised no one said Jimmy Uso.
Yeah.
He's just, I'm
I'm sorry,
surprised
but-
if that's... Go on. No, go on. No, you're fine.
No, I was gonna say if he's gonna go, maybe Jay will go, but then I figured they could just Umaga him.
They won't kill him.
Yeah, I don't want him to
No,
die.
no, I meant give him the stereotypical Samoan gimmick.
Oh,
I didn't mean kill him after a Jeff Hardy match.
yeah, it was kind of dark, Joe. All right,
One time, I'm not trying to be dark.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, they don't really release guys before WrestleMania. It'll happen sometime, late April or May, so somewhere between WrestleMania and that dreaded UK tour that they do every year. Lee almost spit out his food.
You're gonna kill Lee.
Don't imagine.
Anyway, let's move on before Lee can
Come
retort.
on, Lee. Don't
Garf.
spit out the Pringles. Chew them
Garf.
up.
Lee Jordan is about to die.
You get some awesome ratings now.
that may kill him.
Dum, 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 dum,
Garf, what do you
dum,
think?
dum.
It's
What
not.
about Lee Dom?
It's not going to be the huge waterfall of talent leaving that we are.
The red
You think
coat.
it'll be more of a trickle?
Yeah, it's
Or a stream of guys leaving?
it's not going to be as bad as we're predicting, just because we did this last year and they released Tyler Rex. I think that's who they let go after WrestleMania, and no one else left. So this time around, I think it's going to be the same thing. Jimmy and Jay Uso makes sense just because of the DUI. But outside of that, I can't see them get rid of anyone else because of all the programming they do.
And right now, McGillicuddy's kind of a made man. He's been the one who's been training with The Rock for his comeback matches. So I'm pretty sure.
He's gonna stick around.
Yeah.
Probably. For me, it's basically the Usos are going to be gone, and they don't release anybody before WrestleMania. It's always afterwards. We always call about. They didn't do it really much last year, but usually every year you get the ceremonial, the future endeavors, constantly storylines coming out. I think the Usos would go, maybe JTG. Only I really, really hope it doesn't, because I love that. How long has JTG been employed by the WWE website? And it's just a running counter.
That's the only reason they keep him employed.
Oh man, I just think that's awesome. It'll probably be afterwards, and I can see the Usos going. What's the chat going?
Actually, what about Epico and Primo?
I don't know. I see them making a lot of appearances on main event.
Yeah, them guys that were always going to be pushed, apparently, supposedly. Who said that? What?
Their players are going.
Who said that? What?
So the primetime players would go if that was the criteria.
Hey, the primetime players were in the first segment of Raw. Hey, that's a push up from that.
And we
Pretty
finally got to see, even though it was a big commercial breakthrough, 99% of the match. I mean, you got to see John Cena versus Black Cena.
Well,
And the world
to be
did not implode.
Hey, Cena won.
Oh, back off
Joe,
the mic there a little bit.
I'm sorry. Garv, what's the chat got?
Here's the list of names that the live chat has thrown out. Zack Ryder, Yoshitatsu, JTG, the Great Khali, and David Otunga. Evan Bourne finally being released.
Zack Ryder is going to be a good one to watch.
Rey Mysterio is a name that's been thrown around lately.
Rey Mysterio is not one that's being talked about in live chat, but
Rey Mysterio won't be going anywhere. I'll tell you now, he won't be going anywhere.
No, I don't think so either.
And Great Khali isn't going anywhere.
No, he's not.
Yeah, well, a lot of those names I see staying.
That's just because he can't move.
Calm down, Stretch.
But
They fire Khali. It takes him a year to leave the arena.
They fired him in
Fandango!
2007.
Fandango!
Sorry, what was that?
Fandango!
All right, so next one, Adam on Facebook. This is actually a pretty good one, and I want to keep, once again, guys, 30 seconds. Let's keep them short as possible. It's already 9:30, and I really want to get going. If you could show a person who's never watched wrestling before one wrestling match, be it from TNA or WWE, what would it be? If you got one for each, that'd be fantastic. If you don't, that's cool too. Joe, if you had to pick one match to pop someone's cherry, which one would it be?
Right, I've only got one, and it's the Money in the Bank ladder match from WrestleMania 23.
Okay, cool. Any particular reason why, or?
That match was awesome. They had a little bit of everything. You had guys turning on each other. You had great techniques using the ladders. You had a high spot where Jeff Hardy jumped off the ladder onto another ladder to leg drop Edge. You had Kennedy picking up Hornswoggle, giving him the Green Bay plunge off the top of the ladder. And that little guy went a-flying. It was a solid match. You had a lot of great players in it.
All right, cool. Kevin?
Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Iron Man, WrestleMania, and any of the matches between the Motor City Machine Guns and Beer Money.
All right, good point. Any particular reason why you chose those two, or?
The Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels Iron Man was a clinic on how to wrestle. If you're not going to like that match, you're never going to like a match. Motor City Machine Guns and Beer Money are the best tag matches I've ever seen. Those 5 matches were unbelievable.
Oh, the series of 5, yeah.
Yeah, the series of 5. So any of that series of 5.
Okay. Cool. Lee, what do you got?
I'd probably start with Bret Hart versus Stone Cold. I thought that was brilliant. It was one of my favourite matches. TLC 2 was my personal favourite match ever, because that was just crazy. I think CM Punk Cena is a pretty good shout, to be fair. I know it's recent, but it's a pretty good shout. TNA-wise, Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle, they were just awesome matches, in my opinion. And I would also show the first ever Punjabi prison match as well, because quite simply, it was a train wreck.
So this is also what you're going to have to deal with. So
might as well put it out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not all roses. That's definitely for sure. Mike, what do you got?
Lee, why don't you name 5 more matches for us? Because you're only supposed to name 1.
2 at most.
I'm sorry. The question was matches.
Go on, Mike. Go on.
If I was showing 1 match from WWE, I'd show him the 1992 Royal Rumble where Ric Flair won it, where he wrestled for 60 minutes. I think that's a pretty timeless match. One of my personal favorites. If I wanted them to not be a fan of wrestling, I would show them everything TNA's ever done.
Oh.
Whipping out the claws.
Boom.
Garb, what do you got?
I would actually go to something more recent, something that happened this year, and that would be anything between John Cena and CM Punk. I thought everything that they did was fantastic. It told a story, and the crowd was involved in just about every single one of those matches. So definitely there. As far as TNA goes, anything with Austin Aries. Well, not the Austin Aries versus Sting match. I probably wouldn't go that far, but yeah.
All right. So for me, I got 2 for WWE, and it's a toss-up. One would be the Montreal Screwjob, just because of how important that was to the wrestling at the time and in history. I mean, it's a very momentous occasion. I got to disagree with you guys about the Iron Man match, the 60-minute match. If someone's new to wrestling, I doubt they're going to sit there and watch it for an hour. So that's what I'm thinking, like something quick, dirty, and show them, look, this is how ugly this business can be.
That's fair.
The other match for WWE would be Taker versus Triple H 2, last year's WrestleMania. I thought with HBK, that was an excellent example of storytelling within the context of a wrestling match and what you can do when you're not burdened by high flying, when it was just storytelling between these two guys. For TNA, hands down, it's when Austin Aries won the title, because I think that was a real momentous occasion for TNA to have a homegrown talent that they really built from the beginning 100% themselves. And he's just amazing. And he wins the title. And the confetti flowing from the ring, it was fantastic. All right.
Really surprised nobody said Undertaker, Mankind, Hell in the Cell too, but just
that's
throwing it
only
out
really
there.
that one thing. The rest of the match, if you watch it, really isn't all that great, except for when Mankind got thrown off the top. And that sticks with
through the
everybody's mind.
cage too.
But it's not. It's very short.
Yeah.
It was only like 8 minutes long or something. It's not that great of a match, though.
I'm surprised no one said Undertaker HBK.
I was thinking that.
I was
thinking the Hell. I was thinking the Hell in the Cell match from '97.
That one was an epic match.
That was pretty good, yeah. All right, yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, there's plenty out there, and we have a lot on Facebook. If you go to our
can go all
Facebook page,
day.
you can see it. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, that's fair. We
can do an entire show.
So I didn't mean to open up Pandora's box.
If you wanna delve into Pandora's box, our Facebook page, FTW, Facebook.com/FTW podcast. It's right on there. Wesley put a great question up there. I'm sorry, Dan put a great question on there.
Well, I think it was Lee kind of opened Pandora's box by naming his top 10 matches from every year.
Hey, let him go. That's what we can do. I think it was good. Threw out a lot of good things.
And somewhere Rob is cursing us.
Yeah, and it's not my fault that not everybody can go all day, Mike, okay? So shut up.
Hey-o.
All right,
Okay, Lee,
Gary,
you gotta back off the mic.
Gary on Facebook. I like the idea that he's injecting it into his nose. Gary on Facebook said, do you think WrestleMania needs a standout moment this year to get back the WrestleMania moment? I was thinking about it the day, this guy's from England, and he just, okay. I was thinking about it the day, but he was basically thinking about the last WrestleMania moment, like, holy crap, was back at WrestleMania 23 when Shawn Michaels versus John Cena, when Cena beat HBK. He's wondering if that WrestleMania moment has been lost for good. What do you think, Joe? Has it been lost? And if so, what do they need to do to bring it back?
The WrestleMania moment has been, they keep talking about, it's like every jackhole pointing at the sign to say, I've got a WrestleMania match. It's kind of overdone. A WrestleMania moment has to be something that's just like, oh my God, like, I can't believe that just happened. And we haven't had a lot of those, so I'm hoping someone can pull something out, but it's kind of something that needs to die down for a little bit.
Okay. Kevin, go.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be something way over the top. I mean, the only thing that I could think of, and I'm sorry to bring it up. Let me preface this. I have to. The Cena heel turn, but I'm sorry, Harrison. I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't want to talk about it.
Is he going to merge the titles too, Kevin? Is that also going to happen? Are we going to see a unification?
Okay, just move on. I apologize. You asked me my opinion.
We're moving on. Kevin, I miss you, bro, and I'm so happy you're on, but
Did I just say move on? Did I say I'm sorry? I'm going to bring it up.
Lee.
Thank you.
Lee, be the mouthwash, Lee.
I'm not really sure what a WrestleMania moment classes as really anymore. The problem with this year's WrestleMania is that the card doesn't have a standout match. It doesn't have an factor like last year's did, like the years before. Didn't really. But it doesn't have a standout match. It doesn't have the look. It doesn't look like that it has potential to be one of those WrestleMania moments. So something he's going to really have to shock us this year to be a WrestleMania moment. Because The Rock and Cena 2, it won't provide it, I don't think.
Okay. Mike, what do you think?
I think last year had a good WrestleMania moment with The Rock winning. I don't think anyone really saw that coming. You know, I know I was shocked to see The Rock go over John Cena. I thought that was a pretty big WrestleMania moment. 26 had a huge WrestleMania moment with Shawn Michaels retiring. That was another thing where I thought for sure he was going to beat the streak. I didn't think he was retiring. This year's WrestleMania is kind of looking like WrestleMania 27, where it might not have that moment. Looks like it might just be an off year for them.
Okay. Garth, what do you think?
Well, just to backtrack a little bit, I think the one thing that would be better than a John Cena heel turn is if Dolph Ziggler unified the titles. Just throwing it out there.
What happened to the show? What happened?
Yeah, Lee, I'm with you. What happened? This used to be a civilized discussion about wrestling.
Let's not go too far, but this is just crazy.
At least I apologized.
I'm not. Let's agree to disagree.
Oh,
Joe, Harrison, Lee, you guys can be on my show when it debuts next month. You guys don't have to put up with this anymore.
I appreciate that. Mike, I appreciate you poaching people off of the show while we're live doing the show that you're poaching people from.
It's like being on the WrestleZone forums. That's what it's been like. That's what it feels like.
But real quick,
except not as intelligent.
As far as not having a WrestleMania moment, I totally disagree. I think we're taking wrestling too seriously if we can't enjoy what we have seen at WrestleMania the last couple of years. Like every match the Undertaker has been in, like you guys have already said, has given me the oh crap he could possibly lose moment. I get that every year.
I'm sorry,
but when he doesn't lose, that's not. When he doesn't lose, then how is that a moment? I don't.
Well, that's
I
the
don't,
finish.
it-
Shear's match had a spot where Shawn Michaels hit Undertaker with the super kick and went right into a pedigree, and I went, holy crap, they're going to end the streak right here. There's no way Undertaker's kicking out, and then he kicks out at 2.99999.
come on.
I thought that was a good moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
I totally agree.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I'm
come
see, the
on.
thing for me with a WrestleMania moment, it's not that, flying off the cage thing or something like
No.
catching on fire. A WrestleMania moment is something that can only happen at WrestleMania because of the build, because of the stage, because of the players involved. And last year's Taker match was definitely a WrestleMania moment. When Rock got put over on Cena, I got so much respect for Cena when that happened because it was like it was a pretty good match. I mean, it was actually a really good match except for the year-long build. But for me, that's something that would have happened at WrestleMania. So
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, for me, this going into this card, I think there's plenty there. I think Rock versus Cena is going to raise some eyebrows. I think that match going to WrestleMania 29, and I would not be surprised if that is the WrestleMania moment that we're talking about. I'm not sure, Mike, you may be right, it may be an off year, but for me, I think that is going to be one hell of a match on this card.
Don't get me wrong. I think it'll just be like when we look back at the show and see like the impact that it had. I think in the ring it's going to be a fine show. I think the matches will be there. The wrestling will be fine. I see what you're saying
because basically Rock going after WrestleMania is going to be rather limited. So win or lose, he's not really going to be affected by it.
Yeah,
So
I agree that
WrestleMania
WrestleMania last year was correct.
We also had a huge WrestleMania moment last year when Sheamus beat Daniel Bryan in 18 seconds.
I loved it.
People are still talking about that.
Looking back at that, I thought it was brilliant. I completely agree with that. It's this year that I don't really think is going to produce anything.
But it hasn't happened yet. So that's why I'm just like, well, anyway. That is it for Ask FTW. I want to thank everyone who wrote in. This week from the blog, I want to plug a few things on FTWpodcast.com. Again, we have an awesome roll of bloggers that are contributing to the site all the time. Definitely check out Eric Dropkick. I really hope that's not what his parents named him. Looked at the mistakes that WWE is making as they continually go after the wrong audience with their booking. I know what you're thinking. It's one of those smart things where he's shitting on the product, but he actually brings up some pretty good points. In a blog post out tomorrow, Kyle says that it's now TNA, it's TNA's time to start competing. Kyle has also posted earlier this week giving his fantasy booking for the TV title now that Aces and Eights are in power. Corey wrote about the double standard the IWC has when it comes to things TNA does. Sounds familiar to a certain blog post that a certain sexy FTW host wrote a few minutes ago. Excellent comparisons to the film Major League.
Joe hasn't wrote anything.
Garvin also posted on the site why TNA should not sign RVD. Must read. It's even-handed and it's actually really good. And we've got results and reactions to each and every W. Well, normally his stuff is kind of meh just because he does so much for us. So when he does bust out there, really good point. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's a fine line. You could easily go down there and just slam RVD, but he brought up really good points on both sides and argued it really well. It could have just been something like, he hasn't done anything great in forever. But anyway, and
I'm Rob.
This is my Rob impression. And we've got the results and reactions to each and every WWE and TNA show every week. It's fantastic. Definitely check it out. But now it's time for Win Fail and our illustrious Kevin to make an appearance on the machine.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here is your win
You do any job,
and fail
is to fucking get paid!
of the week.
Now it's time for Win Fail. Wins of the week. Joe, your win of the week.
Hands down, it was the Intercontinental Championship match between Wade Barrett, The Miz, and Jericho on Raw. That was a great match between all three of them. Even though Barrett was kind of out of it for a good portion of it, it was still a solid match.
Okay. Kevin, your win of the week.
My win of the week is the Henry Ryback build on SmackDown. When he hits him with the, third or fourth World's Strongest Slam, then he just goes, I like the chumps you've beaten before. When Henry is up against a bigger guy, where he knows he can throw his weight around, where he knows he can talk some trash, he does a great, great job. I was really impressed, and it's made me interested in the match, and I'm looking forward to it at Mania.
Man, Kev, really good point. Yeah, you're right. When Henry knows he doesn't have to really kind of hold back, he really does put together a really good match. A great point, Kev. All right, Lee, your win of the week.
I'm going to give it to TNA. TNA's first show outside the Impact Zone was pretty good, and Chicago really helped. If they keep going like that, to be fair, it's brilliant, really, really good. I can't give it to WWE. They haven't been good enough this week.
Okay, Mike, your win of the week. Go, Mike.
I'm going to give it to the Shield this week. They've just been all over TV, and they've been knocking it out of the park with pretty much with every segment there. And they're just hitting on all cylinders lately going into WrestleMania, especially for a young group like them.
All right. My wins are the Shield have been looking really, really good, but my main win is TNA having Aces and Eights take over the website and basically just disabling it. It was brilliant move, and the fact that they went all in with it is so great. All right, Garv, you got wins from the chat?
Yeah, from the live chat, we have Ziggler and Bryan on Saturday Morning Slam. Rufus Pancake Patterson to start off Raw. The triple threat match for the IC title, TNA Impact in general. Jack Swagger breaking Ricardo Rodriguez's ankle. Aces and Eights. Those are your wins.
Okay, all right. Fails of the week. Your fail of the week. Go, Joe. Sorry, Joe, you're muted, buddy. Joe.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
While I like the Mark Henry Ryback match because you could feed Ryback some more sexual chocolate, I do dislike the way they actually formed the match. Vicky Guerrero just coming out and going, "Nope, I pulled you from the match. He put you in this match." Weak, very weak, weak sauce.
Okay, Kevin, your fails of the week. Go, Kev.
My fail is the Shockmaster 2.0 that is Fandango. I'm sorry. And I know we and Garvin have a different opinion, and that's fine. I appreciate that. I just feel this has no chance. And I hate when I see a wrestler that I think has no chance. It's a profession. I want people to succeed. This is just a bad angle. This is a bad gimmick to me. I just don't think it's going to succeed.
All right. Lee, your fail of the week.
I'm going to give it to WWE's just general build-up to WrestleMania so far. It's just this week's crap. It's really, really been crap the way they're building up some of the matches this week. Some of them, Taker and Punk, it's the best one I'm going. Triple H Lesnar is okay. Besides that, there's no real build, and it's pretty average this year from WWE so far.
Okay. Mike, your fail of the week. Go ahead, buddy.
I got to give a huge fail to these Del Rio Ricardo Rodriguez parody videos. There is nothing funny about them. It is just so terrible. I want to yank cable out of my house every time they come on my screen. They are the worst. They're traitors to comedy.
All right. My fail of the week is Garvin for making all the pee references because I've had to pee like no tomorrow since we started basically just about the tail end of Raw. So Garvin making all the pee references did not help. So screw you, buddy. What do you got from the chat?
Keep switching that around, Harrison.
Let's go.
All right. Well, the fails came in as water for hot dogs. Sorry. The entire opening for Raw between Cena and the Primetime Players, including that match.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock not being on Raw again.
Okay, take your time. Come on.
And Harrison breaking a 20 mistake barrier.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Okay, good. All right, make sure to join us at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Shotgun Saturday afternoon. Garvin will continue to talk about WrestleMania, but also discuss the FTW Draft Playoffs. Only 4 teams left. Team FTW is going to win this one. And that's the show. Check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us on how to get involved in the future. Blah, 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 blah. Thanks for coming out. All right, guys. See you guys next week. Okay, fine. And that's the show. Go check out FTWpodcast.com.
I got it, Harrison. Go take a leak.
Go!
It's pretty unprofessional.
Wow.
Oh, dear me.
Now, if we could only get him to talk that fast and get through all his points during the show. All right, guys, make sure to check us out at 1:30 Eastern Daylight Savings Time this Saturday with Shotgun Saturday afternoon. Garvin's going to talk about WrestleMania, discuss FTW Draft Playoffs, supposedly. Only 4 teams left. Team FTW represent. That's the show. Go check out FTW Podcast for more information about us, how to get involved, how to buy T-shirts, rate us on iTunes. You can sponsor us at ftwpodcast.com/sponsor. While you're at it, you can buy a shirt at ftwpodcast.com/shirts. Ladies, buy one, put your boobs in it. It'd be pretty damn hot. Thank you for everyone in the live chat. Record FTW Podcast every episode on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. I still believe. At FTWLive.com.
It was 12 tonight, but I'll let you off because it changes next week.
Well, see here, it changed early. Yeah, so cool. Anybody else got anything they want to say before we go?
Harrison's a cop.
Yeah, if you want to hear more from me, you can follow me on Twitter at MJCupac. That's MJCUPACH. You can also go to pwtorch.com where I review main event every Wednesday, and I do a SmackDown blog for SmackDown every Friday. So check me out over there, pwtorch.com.
And since Mike's had his time, I'm having my time. Twitter.com/WNSource. That's me. I tweet on behalf of that. I also talk to Gav at the Twitter page, and I also insult their intelligence. So if you want to follow either account, more than welcome to.
Wait, you guys are still closing the show?
Yeah,
we had to talk some shit about you first.
Yeah.
And really, we thought you'd be peeing for another half hour.
Oh.
You ever notice when Harrison has his stupid opinions, it's, well, I think this is going to happen, and it's more like the straight edge society, but then he's got opinions. Oh, here's the... Why don't you bring that kind of...
Come on,
why don't you bring that kind of sense of urgency to your opinions?
I don't care. I feel so good right now. I don't give two shits what you guys have to say. So really, do I have to close out the show?
No. All right. That's been fun. All right. See you later, everybody.
See you next Tuesday.
God help us.
I think I'm going to cut it before Mike's plug.